right, good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, September 12th, 2024. We are following up from the CPI from yesterday and just flipping through my notes here. Of course, look at the video that we recorded yesterday for a little more insight of how we finished and the overall context. As of today, we're just going to go through our normal workflows and just see if we can get aligned. Make sure we're following along what's going on. Yesterday was a staggering day for many, but for us that's following the narrative, we are not too surprised with what transpired in the market today, which was a fairly large short squeeze and a rally, which appears to be more of us drifting back into balance. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we'll go through our typical questions. From a quick glance, is the overnight session considered bearish or bullish? Are we seeing weakness or some strength? Let's just take a quick look at these 3 minutes. I'll go ahead and mute price squawk for now. We don't really have much to hear about for now. We did have our PPI today, so mainly for the catalyst, it was the PPI, which typically follows the CPI. Not too much for earnings. Getting ready to pull this down. Not too much for earnings. And I'm not seeing too much on the news. I know there was the ECB, I believe they did their rate cut, which was as expected. So say what you will about that. For Confucius, our quote is going to be, the object of the superior man is truth. Yeah, I'm not really seeing too much. Okay, but that's fine. Not too much here for the earnings, as we mentioned. And then the economic calendar. There's Wednesday was yesterday. Today is Thursday, so we have our jobless claims and PPI. And then this federal budget, which I don't believe is going to be too much here at 11 a.m. And then just a reminder for the sectors from yesterday, the primary that was carrying the market was freaking technology, led by NVIDIA and Broadcom. So just the semiconductors essentially. And then we have our questions. From a quick glance, it's considered bearish bullish. We are drifting sideways at these highs, with the PPI being not too bad here. This is about a range. This is from the 330s to the 270s. So that's about 30 minutes. We haven't had too much downside trading under the VWAP. From what we can see, there's about 1, 2, and then 3 here. Really not too much for the NQ. And then I believe this is about the same here for the S&P 500 as well. They do have a double bottom here and here at these 55s. So a little bit of trading under the VWAP. By no means what I consider this weak when you end on a massive rally with some of the most volume we've seen relatively over the past 6 months, really. And you're not trading anywhere under that range. You're doing the majority of the auction above it. So if anything, this is just more balance with the favor to the bull sides. Does not mean that we will not have any kind of downside, but as of right now, this appears to be just more of a continuation from yesterday. Looks like we may have some sort of a correction or a pullback off the open, but not really too much overall. But all right, that's enough about that. So we have a good understanding of our macro and then the breadth. Do remember, I mean, we have a little bit of data tomorrow as well, not too much. And then we have our retail sales tomorrow. And then we have the FOMC, we have the retail sales on Tuesday, rather, next week. And then the big FOMC with our decision for the rates. That'll be Wednesday at 11 Pacific. So with that being said, where are we coming from? We were bear flagging for the longest, and stuck within this inside bar. Just a lot of compression, a lot of volume and compression, and boom, push to the upside. And this is our first time into the original impulse candle from Tuesday that got us out of this range. So we're back at the. I wouldn't. This is not a scene of the crime. I guess you can call it, but you know we're we're back at the, we're back in the range of what caused us to be here. The NQ is about they ate up about half of that Tuesday candle. So just a very interesting response. Again, you can look at our video from yesterday, so we won't go too much into that. We have not too many zones to create here because the range from the overnight is only 8 points. Is that correct? No, it's 28 points, 28 points. So yeah, pretty much just below us. So yeah, pretty much just below us for the most part here. And then we have our overnight low. We're not gonna mark that, and basically just above the this SOC, above and below. Yeah, we're not gonna do any zones. It's not the right chart book anyways. All right, so we have about 2 minutes until we see the RTH open. Just going back to our questions, not really too much to look at. We'll go ahead and check out the quote board. Pulling this up on my other screens, bear with me. Looking at our quote board, for the most part, we want to keep an eye on technology and discretionary. Technology did all the work yesterday, so we're going to see we may see sort of a pullback for the technology sector, and then maybe some rotation of money into these other markets. You know, we want to see utilities. I mean, really everyone else. We want to see finances, who's leading the day. Them and communications, 57 basis points and 25 for finance. We want to see these other sectors do fairly well. But again, we're just going to need a little more information just in general before we really come to some conclusions. But if we do see tech selling off, it doesn't mean that they're going to lead us down. We may see more of a rotation for some of these other markets. So we want to see if it's a collective sell-off or not. But bullish on a higher time frame. We're possibly getting into balance territory again, but the bears have the advantage on the intermediate. For the daily, the bears have a slight advantage, and the bulls have the favor and the momentum on their side, at least as far as the sentiment. A lot of people thrown off guard, but if this is truly indeed an intermediate or sell control side, we're going to see, we should see, it would make sense for us to see the bears apply pressure here and really hold the line above this SOC for the PPI. Or yeah, just we really need some force from the sellers if they're really gonna take control of this. So we'll see. All right, so notice there's a little bit of rotation to the downside before the market. We're gonna go ahead and throw on price squat. A little rotation before the market to the downside, and we're starting to see a little bit of the same thing. So we're actually gonna listen to tech today, since they were the outliers yesterday. Let's see how let's see how they sound. All right, so this is NQ now. So again, NQ is a little lighter when you're listening to them. You can hear the thinness of their book.
Block buy.
But it's still the same thing. Same buys, best of buy and sell orders. Again, we just got more of our two-way trade in here. We'll look at it. The volume was around it was around like 210,000, I believe, off the open. I mean, before the like around 6:10, about 20 minutes before the market open. So decent volume, not extremely high by any means. It's about average. So say what you will about that, but we didn't see the big continuation above the prior day's high as we would have expected to see, given the squeeze and the favorable position. So just a reminder, looking here at the market profile, price was already able to eat up the singles above us for the NQ and for the ES. These were left from 9-3. So this was from last week. So these poorly traded areas have been retouched and traded through. Those have been filled in. This is the one from ES. They tested above this low volume node, this little cave here. Couldn't find too much, possibly rejected with a little bit of excess, not able to make the way back, and that excess was from PPI. Even the zone here for the NQ. Again, this is about halfway into that candle. We're not really seeing too much into the last week's Tuesday's candle. Again, we're not really seeing too much upsize momentum, even to the ES. We're almost about halfway, about a quarter, a little more than a quarter of that Tuesday candle. And right now we're trading back lower. So yesterday left a lot of singles. In the event that this is indeed a sell heavy-ish kind of day. Oh no, I have another singles that I didn't do. Sorry about that. Yeah, NQ left a crap ton of singles yesterday. So this was not traded extremely well. So it doesn't mean that we're gonna rotate back into this area, but I mean, there's a possibility these are gonna be targets. If price does see its way back down here, I wouldn't be surprised if price gravitates here. Just imagine it being really just like the way the world works. Anytime you have any sort of like a gap, any sort of like equilibrium, excuse me, if you're lacking equilibrium, our world typically tends to like fill that in. There's like a void. So if we end up having some pressure to the downside, wouldn't be surprised if it's just natural for price to kind of gravitate in that area. For the exact reasons, it's a multitude of reasons, but valid nonetheless. All right, let's make sure that we save this. Getting my trigger charts ready above us. And I'm putting this on lock and sim mode as of right now. We don't really have any kind of reason to be looking at the trade. Okay, perfect. Let's move this. And we're about 5 minutes in. This looks like this is fairly wishy-washy. Maybe open auction to the downside for the ES. Possibly open test drive for the NQ. Bouncing off the potential resistance above us. This is going to be into this second 3-minute candle shortly, but truly an open auction here. NQ possibly rejecting that PPI zone there. We're going to see if we have any sort of continuation. Again, this is the beginning of the session. Who knows what can happen? All right, I believe we've done a fairly good job of our prep. We will call ourselves aligned. We understand what's going on. For a little more details, same situation. Everyone is doing decent, but tech. So again, we are not surprised by this posture here. This is completely normal. I feel like this is the way that the S&P 500 is supposed to work. And it's why that we look at these two. So we're doing a good job staying aligned with their behavior patterns. So we're going to give this a wishy-washy, no favor to any side. All right, I'm typing my notes here. My focus for today is just to stay in line and speak.
Block by.
Okay, possibly looking at a +1. We're able to pop off that ground below us, possibly open test drive from the ES using our overnight trading. This is why we need our zones.
Block by.
Our overnight trading. So the low was 57s. The low is the, let's call it 54 half for the RTH. So we're bouncing off our support zones. We're bouncing off our support zones from the overnight, and we appear to be heading back into the balance above us, testing back into this PPI range. Volume is really picking up. As far as the velocity, rather, appears to be a lot of interest here. As we get a bit higher, sellers are attempting to try to push us down a little bit. It's another minute candle there. And as we're creeping our way up, we want to see how the buyers are responding. As the buyers have the momentum, the sellers have the positioning and the structure on a higher time frame. Even looking at the, sorry about that. Even looking at the, other drawings, yeah. The 138-minute candle. Again, we have
Block sell.
a lot of overhead supply for sure. A lot of overhead supply, and this is our first time getting into this area and really staying in it. So
Block
again,
by.
this is a potential area for sellers to reload, but that's being a bit speculative. But it's not unnatural for the sellers to allow price to push up and then really press down on the price. So it's not unexpected. However, the way price traded yesterday was fairly aggressive. There was really big fights, and buyers won that pretty much. So again, the buyers have the momentum as of right now, and they have very small support. Yeah, look at the velocity that I'm referring to. So I mean, this is 10 minutes in, and just the way they're able to lift offers, you're not really seeing sellers being able to do that in that manner and that aggressive. So that's the reason that I gave it like a +1 and potentially an open test drive. So again, as of right now, it looks like we may be coiling. Typical situation where we coil, we just need to sit on our hands as we have an open auction. Do we break above and then keep pulling above with a sharp test down and possibly a drift up? This may be the type of trade that we're looking at today, or is it going to be a situation where that's actually like a lower high and we end up filling and going back down, which is when we will want to play the break and retest for continuation. Or you may just really just need to just sit on the sidelines because we just don't have enough information. It's a little bit of a wishy-washy trade as of right now, but we appear to be working together. Um, remember, Tech was the only one that was kind of selling off at first, and now they're doing a little fairly better now. But we're back with healthcare that's starting to slide a little bit. So healthcare and utilities can't sell off like this when tech is on the fence with whether they're going to be weak or strong today. So again, they're still stabilizing. They're still trying to figure out themselves. So we won't commentate too much once we have a break above and some sort of continuation. then we'll give a little more feedback. But as of right now, um, yeah, we'll see. So it's a little bit of that same kind of trading. There's no pushback to the upside as we're sliding down. We do have 10 more seconds, so we'll see how we end. 3 seconds. New low. Okay. And then we found our way back up with that same intensity. Except that wasn't as much as what we notated a while ago. But it's still a smooth rotation above. So I mean, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but that feels like it's like one person like down, up, down, up. Not one person, but I don't know. That seems like coordinated. That's just weird. That's just weird to see. But yeah, there's no real force going on right now. So we haven't had anyone that's kind of taken a side, hence the two-way trading that we're seeing. And we're pretty much just like channeling upwards. But we are indeed back into this PPI range for the NQ. So say what you will about that regarding relative strength. All right, looks like we're getting ready to make this low for NQ, but I mean for ES, but we've said that what 3 times now, and I'm assuming this is healthcare again. Yeah, more of healthcare. Healthcare, staples, everyone's starting to sell off just a wee bit. All right, and then I'm putting a sell stop at the overnight low, which is the 54 quarter. Seeing if we'll at least get a pullback to the impulse candle from this prior structure, from the prior day. That low is the 55.39. Not saying that we're going to take that out by any means, but we want to see what kind of rotation we're going to have to the downside, if any at all. So we'll give this like a 4 point stop as of right now. We'll be willing to adjust that. But given how they are trading with slight weakness with some of these other sectors, we'll see if that's going to be if that's something that's going to happen. So again, we're a few points away, but it's only really not too much. It's not too far. Excuse me, it's not too far away. And this will be us trading as we're below the PPI. and the higher time frame context of where we're coming from. Not saying this is going to be the beginning of the sell-off by any means. But we'll see. And I'm not in yet on the MES.
Block
Okay.
buy.
See if that's going to continue. So we ended up getting that same sort of continuation from the NQ, which is interesting. We wasn't seeing that a while ago. But we need to see if this is going to continue. Seems like they're having a little trouble getting past these 51s. Our entry was at the 54, so we'll see how they continue. But the more that the lower tech trades, the nicer this trade is going to look. All right, I got out of one of those trades. Excuse me, I got out of one of the risk. Gonna leave our stop where it was. Simple trade, so we ended up stopping at the 48s, which is some of the prior structure from the prior day. So I mentioned the 39, but I forgot to mention the 50 is where we were headed. So I mean that was like a 1-on-1 to get our risk off. We ended up taking out the low. Actually, let me just unhide this now. Taking out this low here, that's the 1-on-1 target, and then anything else would be the 39. This would be taking out basically this area, this zone here. Again, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. For price squawk, we are listening to the NQ.
Block sell.
That is not what we're trading, but given how weak they were prior, you know, something that we're interested in.
Block buy.
Any kind of extended target, I'm not too for sure. We'll see what price action gives us, but we do want to be mindful of where we're at.
Block sell.
And then the trading from yesterday. Look at the sellers trying to push this down and not being able to. So again, we're looking at -2. Can't go anything more than that because we need more time. But definitely, but there are buyers here on the passive side trying to get filled. But you know, we don't know the intent of their orders.
Block sell.
All right, I'm pulling this stop back to the impulse candle that we entered in on the breakout,
Block buy.
which is at the, let's call it 56.
Block sell.
So about a two point
Block sell.
loss in the event that we have some sort of like rotation back. So do remember that we have targets. So the NQ has already eaten up one of their singles. They're heading to another one. ES has eaten up some of their targets so far, with some more below us near the mid-20s.
Block sell.
This is the kind of continuation that we wanted to see. Before we move our stop any lower, we want to see some sort of attempt from the buyers be thwarted. Now, whether that's going to be the
Block buy.
anchor, whether that's going to be the RTH VWAP or what it's going to be exactly, we don't know. But as of right now, we're still trading below our PPI range.
Block buy.
And this is some of that buyer response that we were talking about. So those 39s were pretty close to being hit. Given that tech started to sell off at the same time as ES, that was a little bit more information that we didn't have then. So if price can calm down for just a moment, I'm gonna take a quick reference to our quote board and see how we move. I didn't do that correctly. See, yeah, we're finding our way already back. And again, we still have that stop there at the 56. We're not gonna sweat that. If we end up taking our loss, then so be it. So we got our original risk off. This is like a 850. This is like a 652. Interesting response from the buyers on the NQ. I'm double checking if NQ, I believe they hit their overnight low as well. Of course they did. So yeah, if the sellers, and again this is a big if because we're still sitting at about like a -2, maybe -1.5, given the response. But we were seeing these wider rotations a little while ago. How easy price was moving. NQ's back at their open. And ES is testing their mid, almost VWAP. We got about almost 5 minutes until the end of this bracket. I will say it was definitely a good choice for us to do the S&P 500, seeing the nuance with the healthcare, the healthcare selling before, or the healthcare that preceded all this. Again, a major component. I'm not sure if they're the second or third weighted, but one of the top three. While tech was already showing signs of weakness a little bit. So not necessarily a front run, but just made sense that if we found our way down, we understand, or we have a little of a glimpse of how we're selling off and the gravity of the fact that multiple sellers are selling off and it's not just coming from tech itself. Again, we're still in this trade. We're not sweating this at all. I don't see a reason for us to add to the trade. We possibly could and put the stop at break even, but given the context of where we're coming from and this massive rally, short covering rally, it doesn't make the most sense. But ideally, I could put an additional sell order in here and then just put my stop at my original at 54. That would still be about the same kind of risk during these initial impulse and at close. But yeah, we're gonna pass it right now. I had a bit of a rough day yesterday. Still sitting at this -1.5, possibly call it 2. And again, don't be surprised if we see another rotation up. So since we did that, the data pull at near those lows about 5 minutes ago, basically technology is pulling us. Technology is kind of carrying us to the upside. All right, about 2 minutes to the end of this bracket. So we're looking at an open auction for the ES and open test drive to the possibly for the, excuse me, we're looking at a open auction for the NQ and possibly an open test drive using the PPI SOC low as a resistance area. We'll need more information, but as of right now, that's what we're seeing for the first bracket. How the second bracket looks, we don't know. Possibility we may have some upside given the technology strength.
Block buy.
But without being speculative, going off of what we're seeing, we're not seeing much continuation from the healthcare sector side. Hello. And again, we're just gonna allow the market for us to take us out. You know, if we end up getting taken out on a rotation, then by all means, again, we already have our risk off for this idea. It's the benefit of using two different contracts. Whatever happens from this point, we'll just allow the market to do it. But from what we can see, we had a very nice hand with the weakness from the tech sector. Maybe a situation where the turn in a river is coming out and possibly going against us. But you know, so be it. But as of right now, we had a good flop.
Block buy.
Because after this stop run, our stop is pretty much 2 points past that. But we'll see. If this is indeed bearish, then they shouldn't let them pass this. They shouldn't let them pass this VWAP area, to be honest. Technology just ended up hitting their SOC low again and appears to be rejecting it. And that was their full session VWAP as well. Now they're back under VWAP. So again, this is nice and all, but we can see a rotation back to the upside. And this is still within the same 1 minute candle. A lot can happen in 1 minute. But clearly I see this is definitely some pressure from the buyers for sure. They're hiding within these candles. So yeah, I would imagine we're gonna see a leg to the upside, but it's not up to me to make those decisions. We'll let the market tell us what's gonna happen. See if these little gaps are filled partially. That's 4 contracts, 1 and 3. Good lord, that's not a good sign. 1 more contract. There we go. Yeah, it's not much trading is before these 60s. They need to get above these 60s and above these 51s. So it looks like they're struggling at 51s and these 60s. All right, they're pushing above it now, at least for the NQ. Not so much for the S&P 500, which again, once they break these 53s, that should be basically a stop run, and then I should end up getting taken out near here at these 56s because they are holding in there. Buyers are trying to hold. We got another about 30 seconds for this 3-minute candle, first 3-minute candle of the first bracket. V pockets here at these 50s. Couldn't make it to the 70s for NQ. They're fairly close though.
Block buy.
I'm not sure if they hit those 70s. Couldn't tell. Yeah, she's low volume. They're kind of sliding through. Check out this quote board once more. Yeah, technology's just leading us heavy. They got to hold these at least the 70s now that they got into them. So yeah, if we end up making a new low here, this is when I'll put my stop at break even. If not, pull it down a little bit more. But again, we'll see. We won't get ahead of ourselves because as of right now, these buyers are extremely aggressive on the NQ, and the sellers aren't getting too much work. We're not really seeing too much aggression on either side, to be perfectly honest. And it feels like the volume is low. The volume's pretty decent off this open. All right, we got about 10 more seconds. This is gonna be the first 5-minute candle. We'll see what kind of sign they're gonna send to other participants. So it's a fairly big sell-off candle on the ES. A bit of an engulfing candle. We're gonna see if that's gonna have any kind of follow through. And again, we're bullish on the highest time frame, a bit bearish via structure for the intermediate, but the momentum is definitely on the buyer side, especially with the context from yesterday. We do have singles below us for potential targets for price to fill in those gaps. We have a lot of people that's going to be stuck for sure, but that's a little lower in price, more of like the 5480s or so. But yeah, buyers are really hanging in here. This may be that rotation to the upside. Those are going to be those stops. Really past those 54s. And they're front running the NQ. Actually, they're making a little more progress than what the NQ was. So I would imagine we're going to see some of these other sectors that are, yeah, we're seeing a little more, seeing more of a comeback from financials, communications as well. Some people are going to have to start picking up the slack if technology is not holding. It's possibly that NQ is rejecting their open and still this SOC low, but we're still hanging around it. And the IB mid for the ES. So still wishy-washy overall. And again, if we get taken out of our trade at this 56, well, basically it'll essentially be a scratch. But the market, I mean, it's showing us that they can't get above the IB mid, which is the 54, a little under the 54. So I mean, if they can't get over there, our stop is at the 56, then so be it. And again, the 56 is not just a random number. That's the start of the impulse on a 1 minute candle that broke the low initially. That was our entry candle as well, which is in here. Actually, I'll just show you. I'm sure as soon as I show you, price is gonna come back up. At least the way it feels like. But this here, this is that overnight low. So it's at the top above the overnight low once more. So it's like 56. So I mean that just structurally makes sense. So not anything arbitrary at all. That would mean that they can't retrace that sell-off candle, and they're having troubles getting back over the overnight low. That makes sense. And if that's something that holds, we should see some a pullback to the prior day's range. There's a possibility that it may be a stop run, and then they head down, and that's okay too. But that's just more information. And again, our target, we really want to see if we can reach more of these singles. Delete the singles at the it's about 20 points away. It's at like the 25. But as of right now, before we move our stop anymore, we want to see if we can make a leg lower, which we did, and then have some sort of a coiling range, and then have the coiling range denied. So notice the technology is trading a bit weaker, but ES is really holding at these 50s. Not much to the downside, not much more to the upside. If they break these 54s, we should see a pull gravitate towards those 60s. If they break these lows, they have more to the downside, break these 45s, I would imagine we're going to revisit these 40s, which would be eating up into the prior day's range, which again was a whole ass short squeeze, a big rally, lots of stuck sellers. Um, so you just want to have minimal expectations. You're going
Block buy.
against the wind. You're going against pressure for sure. Let's see if they're going to get past these 54s. Remember, NQ was struggling at their 60s and so on. We're sitting at our 50s as of right now, but now ES is leading technology out. And again, I would imagine that's going to be what, finance? No, this is. I can't really see. Yeah, it looks like industrials actually. Industrials is now green. Healthcare is coming back. About 12 seconds. And again, this is the reason that we didn't want to add to our trade, given the context from yesterday. If we would have added to it and put our stop at the 54s, then we just would have been just asked out. So we give ourselves a little more wiggle room and stay with the narrative of the story. Looks like we may have that burst through now.
Block buy. Block buy.
There we go. We got our stop down. All right, so we're still looking at this open auction here for the ES. I mean for the NQ. Testing this SOC low range. Yeah, we're gonna hold off on entering anything else at the moment until we can get a better idea of what's going on.
Block buy.
All right, they're getting back into there. Let's see if we're gonna get a new high for the NQ. All right, they're at the half point of that SOC. ES is at the open. Another 5 seconds. We're gonna see if they're gonna close this candle strong. For the buyers, that is.
Block sell.
Okay, new highs. Trying to see new highs for NQ or not. They're looking at it. It's another minute. Alright, so I end up going short at the NQ. We'll see how long this lasts, but this is at the 12s with the stop at the high. Just seeing just for a little bit of
Block
momentum
sell.
there. We'll see if that's gonna stall. Ideally testing the open again. We just did one contract, so this one's gonna be a little trickier, but we'll see. And of course, if this fails, we're definitely gonna need to look for a pullback into the open, possibly or for a retrace back into the current day's range. Crap, I forgot to do. Alright, taking a quick snapshot and seeing where we're at. If we have upwards or downwards momentum from this area, we just want to see what's not necessarily causing it, but the contributing factors. I actually have my stop at the 30s, actually, which is the top of this SOC range. So it's about 18 points. Let's see what we look like on the daily. Still in this Friday candle, of course.
Block sell.
So, I mean, I guess we're still looking at like a +1 as of right now. Kind of hard to tell for this.
Block cell.
But yeah, we're staying at these highs, so we're at least a good 1.5.
Block buy.
All right, so we ended up
Block
getting
buy.
taken out there. Cool.
Block buy. Block cell.
And the ES is at their about midpoint for their PPI SOC zone. Since that time, tech leading, industrials helping, industrials discretionary, and a little bit of finance. Let's see. So you're gonna give this like a good +2 for the NQ, maybe, because we're still just above the IB high. About 6 points with the PPI ahead of us, above us rather. Good +1.5, but that's coming from a -2, -2.5. So a nice shift. Definitely building volume at these highs. Not seeing an uber aggression from either side.
Block sell.
23 minutes. So another 7 minutes until the end of this bracket. All right, they're making these new highs for NQ. If when they burst through these highs for ES, we may see a bit of an impulse through. It's a lot of volume that's spooling up here. I'd imagine we got a fair amount of stops. NQ needs to hold their SOC high.
Block buy.
Yeah, this is nice and all, but yeah, we'll see if this is sustained. This will be the end of the 5-minute candle shortly. This doesn't mean anything. We still got 10 seconds. We still have 10 seconds. We can find our way at the fucking highs. So we learned this yesterday. I mean, this was evident yesterday. Exactly. But, you know, who knows? So buyers are not necessarily chasing it up, but they are picking up these little small discounts.
Block buy.
They're considering that cheap. And we appear to be back at said highs. What does this look like on the 5-minute? Nice U-turn. NQ was able to hit their overnight high. Just trading around this area a little bit. This is some sleepy action. Volume is light.
Size of this initial balance was 26 points of range, and all that was to the downside. That was retraced, and pretty sure it was an earthquake. Okay, sorry about that. It was like a little earthquake, apparently. Okay. Anyways, so what was I saying? Okay, yeah. So looks like we're just pulling up price again. If when we burst through here, probably going to be a fair amount of stops. Not really too much progress. This is just pretty much the. It's like a little pivot at above the 74s, which is about the open. The 75 quarter is the open for the SOC.
New high for
Block
NQ.
buy.
Tech and industrials leading.
Block buy.
All right, some of those stops there.
Block buy. Block buy. Block sell.
Oh, huh? Wait, what? It's so light too. It's so light. All right, I'm putting my stop above there for sure. And that may be exactly what drives us to higher prices, but ain't no way in hell we should come back from that. Yeah, because I know that's gonna throw a lot of people off guard. Wait, is there any news? There's no news, right? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Joe Biden hosts a bro. What? Bro, what was that? All right, so man, I took profit at one of those. I mean, I only had two, but jeez. I ended up taking profit like at like 10 points, well at 9 points. That was so strange. Yeah, I don't see any news or anything. It was just like a bid pool. Just no kind of support. And possibility, we may just scurry back up, I wouldn't be surprised. But like I said, we're gonna. Man, is my price squawk not squawking? Cause I don't hear anything. I have it on mute. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, I'm so sad. Bro, what was that? That was 18 points just because. Holy cow. That was just so weird. And then I didn't have it on price squawk. It was just dropping. I really wish I had that on price squawk. I'm so upset. Oh man, my heart. And if all that retraces, I 100% do not want to be in this trade. So that went directly to the open on NQ. and supported the VWAP for ES.
Block by.
They ended up, that was a perfect defense of an impulse candle from yesterday at the last 15 minutes of RTH. Nice save. Yeah, that was a perfect pullback. That was a perfect pullback for the buyers. They ended up defending a nice pivot from yesterday, right at this consolidation as well, and at the top of these
Block
impulse
by.
candles here. And we're headed back into this PPI range. Earthquakes. Yeah, I'm not gonna sweat this too much. Again, bulls have been buying dips fairly aggressively, but I'm not gonna disrespect that was a big trapping impulse candle, and that reclaimed the open on the ES, but not as much as the NQ. NQ is did all that within their PPI range. Not the case for the ES, which is why we were short there. So again, I'm not gonna worry about this. I mean, I don't worry about anything in general. But yeah, we're gonna see if they can get back over these. So where we had that overhead, where we had all those buyers that were just really trying up here and pushing. Again, we don't know if these were shorts covering or these were new money longs. But we have a big cluster up here above us. So we're gonna see what kind of response when we get up there. All right.
Block by.
It's another minute and 10 to this 15-minute candle. Earthquake in Malibu. Thousand Oaks? No, Thousand Oaks.
Block cell. Block cell.
Yeah. Just gotta wait and see now what's gonna happen from that point earlier. All right, I'll be right back. Really, not too much is happening. I mean, either we break above, so be it. The buyers want to target the 82s, which is going to be the overnight high, and the top of the SOC zone. It's like 81 something, but you get my point. And the NQ have already accomplished that. They really just want to just continue to push. They do have the singles above them near the 400s. Yeah, they already broke that pivot high there. Nice. I didn't notice that. From that same day. And then on the ES, yeah, they're still making a lower high for right now. And they can't get above. Yeah, they do get above that 82. That you may see some room. You may see more excursion to that upside for sure. Because this is another pivot here. Damn it. I need to lock those drawings. That's probably what I need to do.
Block cell. Block cell.
And I already pierced through those. Next singles 25s. Yeah, he is contesting with a lot of overhead
Block
supply
cell.
here. That's why we were stuck at these 72s. It's the bottom of this range. A lot of history here. Volume's at 600,000,
Block by.
630,000 actually. Okay, I'm gonna put this on mute and do something else because this is nothing's happening really. And to be clear, I'm stepping away not because there isn't anything happening, but more that we're already in our position. We have our stop above this. We put it at the 82 since we were able to take our risk off or get those 9 points. So we can pretty much sit in this.
Block by.
We can pretty much sit. I can't believe I missed that. We can pretty much sit into
Block
this
by.
risk free to a degree. I'm not looking at the screen right now. I stepped away.
Block by.
I hear a lot of block buys. What's going on? $69. Man, this is gonna mess around and become the volume point of control. They'll need 6280 contracts. It's a lot of volume near these 60s and these 70s. We're probably gonna end up doing a zone here when we do our homework. Fair amount of activity going on in this region. All right, I'll be back.
Block cell. Block cell. Block by.
I just came back, and this is kind of what I was talking about with those 70s. We had all those buyers there. It seems like it's possible if all the buying dried up, and it's like, you know what, I don't know what happened earlier. We're going to sit this out. Let's go ahead and break even, take a small loss. That appears to be what happened. We're going to see if we have that same upwards momentum as we did a while ago, or if it's just continued downside. Block by.
Block by.
I've been talking on mute this whole time. My apologies. So as we've seen or just bear with me, trying to figure out what I missed. So I came back right as the selling off was beginning. They were stuck at those 70s again, and we weren't sure if that was going to be the stuck buyers that we saw in the footprint and the order book here and here near those 70s. They're attempting to buy we would imagine maybe breakout traders front running this breakout, ended up being spooled by the passive sellers. It's kind of hard to tell. Again, we're bullish on the highest, more bearish on the intermediate with the structure given. Momentum is to the buyers, so we can understand that this may be shorts covering or breakout, but just a lot of buying. But we can't forget that this intermediate structure is still fairly bearish. Even given the context that FOMC is next week, and that's pretty much like the biggest thing headed our way, do we have enough oomph to push us forward? I think with the stuck sellers from yesterday, absolutely. But the way we're trading right now, we couldn't get above those 70s, and it only takes one time for the buyers to lose their support, maybe fall below the IB low. And as we're testing and using all these support zones that we have now, here and here, here and here, if we have to use those as resistance, it's a possibility that's maybe a very tough road, including with the PPI, the SOC zone above us. So now we're 20 points away from that pivot high at the 82s. So I'm going to go on mute here. I want to get some notes. I'm running a bit long today. We want to make sure that we had like a full day, especially after missing yesterday. I don't want to overdo it. And I have something to take care of a little later on. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my journals. So we'll see what happens. Fairly simple. Yeah, I'm still just in this one position. My stop is at the 82. So this is more of a higher time frame play, but we'll see. We are targeting some of the body of yesterday's action. Potentially even down here. This would be like really like the 5,000s, 5,500s rather. That will be the end result target. Given the weaker structure that we have, this was just essentially a short squeeze through. It's a lot of broken areas there. Well, if we do get stopped out, that'd basically be a 2-point loss.
Block sell.
Given as we took our risk off prior. Not the cleanest, sexiest trade. Maybe a little sloppy. But following the narrative nonetheless. Alright.
Block by. 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 Block cell. Block cell. Block by. Block by. Block cell. Block cell. Block by.